What if I told you that the difference between failure and success in your exams is not how many hours you study, but how intelligently you use the little time you have left? Imagine sitting at your desk, staring at a mountain of notes, feeling the pressure closing in, the clock ticking louder with every passing second, and the fear of not being prepared slowly taking over your mind. Yet somewhere deep inside you know that there must be a smarter way, a better way, a way that doesn't require endless hours but demands focused intention, clarity, and strategy. This is where everything changes, because studying smart is not about doing more. It is about doing what truly matters. And when time is limited, clarity becomes your greatest weapon. You begin by understanding that not all topics carry equal weight, and not every page deserves your attention. So instead of trying to cover everything, you identify the most important areas, the concepts that appear frequently, the topics that form the foundation of others, and the questions that are most likely to appear in your exams. As you narrow your focus, something powerful happens. Your mind stops feeling overwhelmed and starts feeling in control. And this sense of control is what allows you to move forward with purpose. You shift from passive reading to active learning, engaging deeply with the material by asking questions, summarizing key ideas, and testing your understanding repeatedly. Because true learning is not measured by how much you read, but by how much you can recall and apply under pressure. You begin to realize that time is not your enemy, distraction is, and every moment wasted on overthinking, scrolling, or doubting yourself is a moment stolen from your potential. So you eliminate distractions with discipline, creating an environment where your mind can focus without interruption. Even if it is just for short, intense bursts of effort, these focused sessions become your secret weapon, allowing you to absorb more in less time. And as you repeat this process, your confidence starts to grow, replacing anxiety with determination. You understand that perfection is not the goal. Progress is, and even small steps taken consistently can lead to significant results when guided by the right strategy. In this journey, you are not just preparing for an exam, you are training your mind to think efficiently, to prioritize wisely, and to act decisively. And these are skills that will serve you far beyond the classroom. The truth is, anyone can study hard, but only a few learn how to study smart, and those who do are the ones who rise above the pressure, who turn limited time into maximum impact, and who walk into their exams not with fear, but with quiet confidence, knowing that they have done exactly what needed to be done, nothing more and nothing less. Now comes the moment where most students lose their direction, because even after deciding to study smart, they fall back into old habits, thinking that effort alone will save them. But this is exactly where the real test begins, because when time is limited, every decision carries weight, and every mistake costs more than you can afford. You sit down to study, determined to stay focused, but suddenly you hesitate, unsure of where to begin, questioning whether you are choosing the right topic, whether you are skipping something important, and this hesitation slowly turns into doubt, and doubt begins to consume your momentum. This is the hidden trap that stops progress, not lack of ability, but lack of clarity and execution. And if you do not recognize it in time, it quietly wastes the precious hours you cannot get back. The pressure builds as the realization hits that the exam is closer than you thought, and despite your efforts, it feels like there is still too much left to cover. And this is where panic tries to take control, pushing you toward rushing through pages, memorizing without understanding, and jumping between topics without finishing anything properly. But right here, in this exact moment of chaos, lies the opportunity to change everything, because the smartest students are not the ones who avoid pressure. They are the ones who use it to sharpen their focus. You begin to break your study time into small, powerful sessions, where each session has a clear goal, a single objective, and a defined outcome. And instead of trying to do everything at once, you commit to doing one thing exceptionally well at a time. You start using rapid learning techniques like active recall, where you close your books and force your brain to retrieve information, strengthening your memory with every attempt, and spaced repetition, where you revisit key concepts at the right intervals to ensure they stay fresh in your mind. As you apply these techniques, you notice something unexpected. Your mind becomes more alert, more engaged, and more efficient, and the fear that once held you back starts to fade. But just as you begin to feel progress, another challenge appears: the temptation to stop, to rest longer than needed, to convince yourself that you have done enough for now. And this is the silent enemy that destroys consistency. The truth is, success in limited time does not come from motivation. It comes from discipline, from showing up again and again, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when your energy drops, even when doubt tries to return. You remind yourself that this is temporary, that the discomfort you feel now is building the strength you will need later. And with every focused session, you are not just covering topics, you are building momentum. And momentum is what carries you forward when motivation fades. In this intense phase, every minute becomes meaningful, every decision becomes intentional, and every effort becomes a step closer to the result you are aiming for. But only if you stay aware, only if you stay disciplined, and only if you refuse to let confusion or fear take control again. And now you arrive at the final stretch, the phase where everything you have done begins to come together, where your preparation is no longer about gathering information, but about sharpening what you already know, refining your understanding, and building the confidence that will carry you into the exam room with calm determination. At this point, many students make a critical mistake. They try to learn new topics in a rush, overwhelming their minds and weakening their focus. But the smart approach is different. It is intentional, controlled, and deeply focused on reinforcement rather than expansion. You begin to review your most important concepts, revisiting the areas that matter most, strengthening your weak points, and testing yourself repeatedly under timed conditions so that your mind becomes familiar with pressure, not afraid of it. You simulate the exam environment, allowing your brain to adapt to the rhythm of solving questions quickly and accurately. And with each practice session, your confidence grows stronger, replacing uncertainty with clarity. You understand now that confidence is not something you wait for. It is something you build through preparation, through repetition, and through trust in your own effort. As the exam day approaches, you feel a shift within yourself, a quiet sense of control that was not there before, because you are no longer guessing. You are executing a plan that you have carefully followed. You begin to realize that studying smart has changed more than just your results. It has changed your mindset, teaching you how to think under pressure, how to prioritize what truly matters, and how to stay focused, even when time is limited. And then, in the final moments before your exam, there is a brief pause, a moment of silence where all the noise fades away, and you are left alone with your thoughts. And this is where the truth reveals itself, because deep down you know whether you have used your time wisely or wasted it, whether you stayed disciplined or gave in to distraction. And this realization can either bring anxiety or peace. But if you have followed the path of smart study, if you have committed to focused effort, if you have used every minute with intention, then what you feel in that moment is not fear, but readiness. You walk into the exam not hoping for luck, but relying on preparation, not overwhelmed by time, but supported by strategy. And as you begin to answer each question, you notice something powerful. Your mind responds with clarity, your thoughts flow with structure, and your confidence guides your decisions. This is the reward of studying smart when time is limited. Not just better results, but a stronger, sharper, and more disciplined version of yourself that can face any challenge with focus and control. If you are benefiting from our topics, please subscribe, like, and turn on the bell notification so you can see our new videos early.